Hey everyone, so I am back from my trip to France. I had a great time there. I got to go to Paris, I got to go to Versailles, I got to go to Disneyland Paris, which by the way is not in Paris if you did not know that. It is very far away from the city, but it was awesome. I posted tons of photos on my Instagram and Twitter, and if you have not followed me on there, please check it out. It is Leiden_Robert. Shameless plug, I know, but I posted tons of photos and I just have to share them because it was such a great trip. I went with two cousins, we were gone for the whole week, and I loved it, and I already want to go back to Europe. It's such an amazing continent, but France is beautiful. I loved it. That was my third time in France, and overall, it was my second time there this year because I loved it so much. So anyway, while I was gone, two or three Once Upon a Time stories dropped, and I figured we could discuss them in this video. So the first part is Giles Matthey is returning to season 7 for at least one episode. He's going to be in the Rumple episode, so it's going to wrap up some of the stories and then give us a kickstart to why he's doing what he's doing in season 7. Makes sense. This is the episode Emily DeRaven's going to be returning in. Now, the one thing I have question is how he's going to be aged, because I can't see the time jump being really, really big. I thought it was like 10, 14 years. I can't keep it straight. I'm sorry. But point being is, even if it's only like 14 years, how on earth is Gideon going to be 28 again? It doesn't really make a lot of sense in that regard, because Giles Matthey, he can't be, excuse me, he can't, play a 14-year-old. It's just not possible. And the article said he's going to return as an adult, so there must be some magic to age him up even faster. Now, the one thing I do like about this is, Gideon was never a bad character. He was under the control of, his evil grandma, the Black Fairy. So I really like the fact that he's going to have the opportunity to do something a little different as opposed to be someone's slave. So it'll be good to see him. I'm curious as to how the character will get sent off as well. I think of all the characters, Gideon could have been on the show for the longest. If you remove Rumple and Belle from the Rumple family, Gideon would have made the most sense because he's the newest, he's the youngest. And in a reboot, you can use the newest character because he's a baby and make his story fresh. I mean, we already have a whole backstory of Rumple and Belle, so Gideon's backstory, it's weird because he got reverted back to a baby and he didn't get the opportunity to grow up in the real world. So he would have been the one they really could have resetted. So I'm curious to see how he's going to be aged up really quick again. Poor kid can't grow up properly. And I'm also curious to see how he's going to weave in with Rumple and Belle, and if he's going to be in more episodes. But I liked Giles Matthey. I thought he was a good actor. I thought the role of Gideon was just weird because the writing of season 6 was so peaked in valleys that unfortunately it affected Gideon's role as well. So that's the first story of the video. I'm really curious what you guys have to say about that. By the way, I'm sorry. My voice is a little weird. I caught a cold while I was away. So the next part is, Once is going to add a new Wicked Witch. Now, this caused a ton of controversy. I saw on my Twitter feed, I saw on Adam Horowitz's Twitter feed. It was not good. Now, I think the problem is the title. So Emma Booth is now going to be playing a new Wicked character, but Wicked almost instantly refers to Oz. You think Wicked, you think Wicked Witch. You don't really think Wicked as an evil witch or Wicked as in anything else. You instantly just go to Oz. It's connotated to that. So that's kind of where you're wondering, who is she? And in Adam Horowitz's tweet, he said, she's not replacing Zelena, but she could be Evanora, I think was the name of the Wicked Witch from, the Oz the Great and Powerful, the Disney movie. So she could be a version 2 of a Wicked Witch, which is ridiculous, which is why I don't like the fact that we're having, multiple Once Upon a Time books, because, you can reboot anything. And I think people just like to have one congruent version of a character, such as the Wicked Witch, because Zelena, Rebecca Mader, own the character so well. Now you possibly have a second one, so that's a little weird. I'm not a huge fan of this particular storyline, or story. I have to see the storyline to say if I'm fair or not. But Emma Booth, she's an Australian actress, excuse me. I don't know anything about her, but she's cast as a new Wicked Witch. She's in a recurring role, so she'll probably be teaming up with Lady Tremaine somewhat. I am curious to see it, but I do wonder why they decided to title it Wicked. I mean, it could be the Wicked Witch of the East. Maybe she's from the first book, and she's one of the Witches of Oz that just got recast from season 3. So what do you guys have to say about seeing a new Wicked Witch? I think it's just a bad idea to title her Wicked Witch. I would have just said Once Upon a Time is adding the Wicked Witch of the East, or Once Upon a Time is adding a brand new original character who's a witch. They could make up their own fairy tale characters. That's very easy to do. They did it with Gideon. So I think it'd be really cool to see, Emma Booth playing just an evil witch, but the word wicked just has some bad connotations. But he said he being Adam said she's not replacing Zelena, so that means she's not Zelena version 2, but she could be Wicked Witch. So she's not Zelena technically, but she could be from Oz. Who knows? There's very little to the story beyond the title, and I can't be like I hate it just based on the title, but I am cautious about it. But she's only recurring. Granted, Zelena was recurring in the beginning, and then she got promoted to starring. So who knows what's going to be happening there. Now the second or the last part of the video, and the video is just going to be really short, just getting the news out there, is there's a possible season 8 already, and we haven't even seen season 7. So from the article, Channing Dugging said, a lot of Once Upon a Time is going to depend on how these new characters are essentially received and how these new storylines resonate. If it does well, we have the opportunity to have multiple years with these new characters, and if not, we'll look at the series where it's going and how to wind it down. But what they've got planned is really spectacular. I misquoted a little bit of it just to make it flow better, but as a businesswoman and the CFO or CEO of ABC, she can't be like, well, I hate the idea and I want the show to end. She has to market her own show to the best of her ability. But how can you talk about season 8 when season 7 is such a mixed bag at the moment? The reception, we've had a lot of debate about whether or not version 2 of Cinderella is a good idea or a bad idea. There's some of you that are really supportive of it, and some of you that are not, like myself, because the alternate version is just not a good idea, at least in my opinion. So she's already talking about how they could already do a season 7, and of course, 8, excuse me. But of course you can do 8 because you can just say, oh, we got Cinderella version 5 now, or we got Wicked Witch of the West version 7. So you can always just do new versions if you're just going to open up a new book and be like, okay, here's the Italian Wicked Witch of the West, here's the Spanish Wicked Witch of the West, here's an Italian Cinderella, here's a Spanish Cinderella, etc. It's weird, and it doesn't make sense. I like congruency. I like it being I like one canon, which is why DC blew up the multiverse, because it was too much. Marvel doesn't even like to do that anymore. I mean, granted, there's a lot of Marvel comics and a lot of Marvel multiverse. Like there's I'm blanking on the title of the comic book line from Marvel, but point being is, why can't I think of what the comic book line is? I'm very sorry about that. I should have researched it prior to the video. The Ultimate Marvel. Sorry, I got it. Point being is, it's too much to have for a television show. Comic books are fine because it's just reading it. But when you're watching it, you're like, what's going on with the other ones? It's too much. And she is also kind of saying it's really depending on the viewers, because she knows there's been a backlash. So I am really curious to see how season 7 is going to fare, because say it does go into the 1 millions, she's gonna be thinking, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't have said this is going to be season 8, and maybe season 7 is the final season. Also, this is just my opinion. When TV is the most lucrative form for actors, it's really hard to get movie role after movie role after movie role unless you're a movie star. Charlize Theron, Emily Blunt, Chris Hemsworth, etc. But Chris Hemsworth, his career is really based in Marvel. Charlize Theron has tons of roles. She just did Atomic Blonde. She was in The Huntsman Winter's War. She's in a lot of stuff. Emily Blunt's been in tons of things. Scroll on the Train is my favorite performance from her. But, you want television is essentially a salary job, and you do it for 9 months, and then you have a break, and then you go back. But what you want to do is you want to be able to expand your horizons and get into movies. Generally, the way Hollywood used to work is you would jump from TV to movies, or you get stuck in TV. And if Once Upon a Time is doing version after version after version after version, that can mean Lana Parrilla, Colin O'Donoghue, and Robert Carlyle are just stuck on the show unless they're like, I gotta go. A lot of people wanted the supernatural characters to be in the DC movies. I think one of them wanted, or a lot of people wanted Sam Winchester, or God, what's his name? Jared Padalecki, wanted him to be Nightwing for DC. And that could have been a jump because he already works for the Warner Brothers Corporation, but he's too TV. He's Sam Winchester. That is who he's known as. So what's going to happen is, if once goes on for season after season, Lana Parrilla's career, Colin O'Donoghue's career, or even Robert Carlyle's career is going to be locked to these characters, and they won't be able to move on. So I do hope, in some regards, just for their careers, they're able to, pull out of the show. I mean, hey, it could be, a non-linear season after season 8, and just be like, okay, so now we'll do a new version of these characters in season 8, but every old one's gone. But, if you lose every old character every new season, it's also a problem for viewers as well. So I'm not really sure what's going to be going on, but I just don't advise them to do a season 8, or at least promote a season 8, and without season 7 already having any numbers. So anyway, those are the 3 stories of the day. I'm really curious what you guys have to say about them. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll talk real soon about Once Upon a Time in the comments below. And shameless plug again, Instagram and Twitter, Leiden_Robert, and Snapchat Rob678. So we'll talk real soon, guys.